Hello, Roftwood. I'm Zombie GG with the Roftwood Coordination Center, proudly presenting you with another post-apocalyptic production I like to call an RCC Fireside Chat. Being so close to Halloween 2018, I thought it appropriate to entertain one of the game's top pro zombie groups. So here you have it, Roftwood, part 1 of a discussion I had with my powerful friend and arch nemesis, Rotting Rita of the Scourge pro zombie group. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. And we are now live. Rotting Rita, welcome to an RCC Fireside Chat. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
I really want to highlight the Scourge. The Scourge were the first organized zombie group I had to encounter when I first came back to Urban Dead in January or February was when I met you. You guys just came into Roftwood and destroyed everything indiscriminately, including my once so precious courtly library.
Well, I mean, we're zombies, like, that's what we do.
Do you remember, like, going into Roftwood at all, or was it literally just another suburb in the path of destruction?
It was mostly just another suburb. I think at the time we might have been on a mall tour.
When did you decide to create Rotting Rita?
Yeah, so with that, I never even, like, when I first started playing, so the character that my main character, Stella, I've had since 2007, I never knew that you could actually have more than one character. Not sure why. I guess I just thought that because of the way the game was, you can't, like most games, like you can't generally have more than one character. And then because when I first started, I'd always used the wiki to find like what buildings were able to be entered into from outside and all that sort of stuff. I realized I could have another character, and so I created one and then started doing danger status updates. And then, like a few months later, I was like, well, I've never actually played the different play styles, so like from military or scientist or zombie or all that sort of stuff. So I was like, well, maybe I'll just create alts to experience what it's like leveling up a character from a particular class. And so within like the period of, it looks probably kind of a bit zergy with some of my characters, that they're all within a few months of each other. But Rita was one of them, and I was like, because I'd never played a zombie before, like from a zombie. Stella was always kind of like, when I first played her, it was kind of dual nature. So like if I was zombie, I played sort of zombie breaking down barricades, or if I was alive again, or I'd go and find a revive if I needed to, or whatever, and play it as a survivor. So Rita was my first sort of proper dedicated zombie character.
Yeah.
And then so I created her. Sort of, it's a bit different when you know how to play already. Because when you get revived, you go, cool, now I know what to do to get some XP, and then you die again, or you jump or whatever. So it's a little bit different that way, but like I still had her, and then I was mostly in the southeast of the map.
Okay, so like Fort Perrin?
Around like Perrin, yeah, around that sort of area. And then, yeah, and just sort of, it's so hard. It's interesting to see how hard it is to level up as a lone zombie as well.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
The zombie side was pretty eye-opening for me. Like when I made a human GG, just to try to do the same thing that you made Rotting Rita for, just to get a feel for another playstyle. And like I forced him to be a feral for a while, and I also hang out with my zombie alt in the Fort Perrin area. It's just a fun place to haunt, and so there's always like action down there, and zombie groups to just follow around. You know, you can always usually find a 4 of something, sieging something around Fort Perrin. So how many did you literally make one character of each class?
Yeah, pretty much. So I have I did a scientist, I did a military, I did a zombie. Stella was a civilian when I first started, because I think I was just like, I don't even remember why I chose that particular one when I started. I think it was just because it had shopping, maybe, and I was like, well, that's probably an easy skill to have. Or, I mean, um,
That's like
it's
hard
just
mode.
like,
If I wanted to play hard
well,
mode, I would like start with
well, I
shopping.
mean, I basically play her in some kind of hard mode anyway because she's got brain rot and I play her as a survivor. So,
Ooh, yeah, that is, rough going.
but yeah, no, like I was just like, I want to see what it's like leveling up, because the thing is, with the survivor side of things, not so much zombie because it's 100 XP per skill anyway, no matter whether you're survivor or zombie within that class. If you're like military, those skills are 75 for like the guns, but then the scientist skills are 150 XP per skill, which means it's harder to, like, you have to work even harder to get the XP to get those skills versus the military ones. So I just wanted to see how long it would take and how hard it was going to be to
What would you
to be
say
able
the
to do it.
hardest was to level?
I think probably Rita to begin with, just because as a lone zombie you get like no XP per your actions.
1 XP per successfully bashing, right?
Yeah,
And it's
like
you miss
takes
all
so
the time.
long. Yeah,
And then you
and
finally
unless
get
you
inside.
find a survivor, and then you got no AP to eat anyone. So
Yep, exactly. But it does feel really cool when you can start like really, or when RNG is very graceful and you just rip those caves right down. You get in, you just start like eating people, or even if the building's empty, you just like, I don't know, swirl around, smashing stuff until it's all ruined. It's just, I don't know. I like my zombie alt. He's fun. It's just a different style of play, and ultimately it just brings balance to the game. It's a zombie game. We need our zombies.
well, and that's the thing. It's like it's a person versus
Player versus
versus
player.
person. Yeah, and so there's no NPCs. Everyone you attack, whether you're a zombie attacking a survivor, or a survivor attacking a zombie, or a survivor attacking a survivor, or a zombie attacking a zombie, or whatever, like, it's all someone else playing that character. And so that gives the game a whole different dynamic as well. I mean, there are so many games that are similar to sort of the whole Urban Dead style of thing, like Hell Rising is one, but there's a lot of NPCs in that game.
I guess that's what makes Urban Dead so personal, is the fact that there's no NPCs. It's literally, like you said, everyone has an individual character, or a couple, but, respectfully speaking. And so it's like everything anyone does is affecting everyone else, whether it's like ruining a building, or like, clearing up a revive queue, or like fueling a generator, or like, player killing someone else. Everything you do has a direct effect on another human. It's interesting that way.
For sure.
Not
And that's
a lot
the thing,
of
and
games
it's
are like that.
No, and I mean, the thing is, where it's a worldwide game. And so you could be attacking someone, like, I'm in Australia, you're in the United States. You don't, like, these days it's not often that you get like a live firefight kind of thing where you come across someone who's active at the exact same time as you are.
Yep.
But so you do but then because it's limited AP and like you've got only limited actions per day, it makes it more fair that, because like for me, if I do anything at like, I don't know, 6 or 4 p.m. in the afternoon, that's really early in the US morning, and not everyone's awake by then. So my attacks mean that it's sort of like it's kind of an advantage for me at that point in time. But then if I AP, then you guys will come on like 2 hours or 3 hours later and then attack me back. And so it just depends on what time it all works out. And then the Europeans are sort of in between it all.
We never got to attack you back, really. It was pretty awful.
No.
Man,
well,
the first scourging of Roftwood in February, like, I'm looking at your list. It's just so funny. You guys covered some pretty good distance. You're covering a couple suburbs. I don't know where all these buildings are, but I imagine they're in different suburbs. And then it's just like Courtley and Roftwood, then Hildebrand and Roftwood, and then you went like a little bit south to Woodruffen Mall, just south of Roftwood, but then literally the Scourge ruined Hildebrand Mall again, February 3rd, 2018. Scourge ruined Hildebrand Mall again, February 12th. Then you just moved like just barely north of Roftwood to Tynt Mall, smashed those guys. And then you moved through Roftwood, like, to go back south again and smash Woodruff. You guys and the RCC became quite close for like that month period. It was it was some dark times. It was a cold winter for us Roftwood survivors this past February. The
Well, I
first
mean, like,
scourging of Roftwood.
well, with that, it's like when you know that you've got a survivor foe, it makes the game more interesting. So it's kind of like you pick your targets because you're going to have a fight back. And like as a zombie, it's super easy just to go and ruin a whole suburb and all that sort of stuff. But there's only certain pockets of the city that actually have survivors these days. So when you know you've got that fight back, why would you leave?
Yeah, it's wicked
Yeah.
fun hosting you guys. Like, it was eye-opening for me for sure, because I came back, I created Zombie GG September 2017, and that's like the debut of my return in Urban Dead. And then I really got like my full survivor skill set by like January when I start up the RCC again. And then you guys just showed up like February. And like, man, it was such a I guess rude awakening. It was an alarming thing to come back to. Like you're operating in Discord, which is brand new to me. Like I was just setting up the RCC, and like the Scourge are just like conducting real-time strikes like in Discord. Everyone's like transparent, like getting on at a certain time and just like smashing buildings. I'm trying to fight like old school like siege tactics and stuff, and it's like the Discord era and the real-time strikes is just, it was savage, absolutely savage, wicked fun to play against. Man, I don't know what else, I don't know what you can really do against real-time strikes at that level. You guys
I,
showed Roftwood a pretty high caliber play style.
well, I think like our strikes were always like just before you guys would all get online. Um, and so we'd have that kind of slight advantage there that like we'd just be like, yeah, eat you, and then we'd see you stand up like half an hour later or something like that.
It was all
But
damage
I mean,
control. It's just wake up and it's like, oh god, where'd the Scourge
I'm
like
dead
go?
again. Yeah.
Who needs to poke? Who needs to heal? Like, man, the first Scourge and we couldn't even find bullets. I've never been in that situation before where I can't even like combat was not an option. It was strictly survival. It was just like what buildings can we hide in and try to repair. It
Yeah.
was crazy. Total war.
And that's the thing, and it's like it's such a like the way that this city is at the moment, like with the population, like there's not a great deal of survivors to go up a really big strong like if there's a big zombie group. And I mean like at that time at the start of this year we were quite like we had quite big numbers.
What would you
And then
say?
so we'd have
I don't even remember. I wasn't really paying attention to the group stats back then.
it was between 20 and like maybe 35, so it wasn't like super big, but for the Scourge itself, our whole mission statement at the start was just to sort of to ruin as many buildings as possible. Like that's what it was, to ruin, it was just to ruin buildings. It wasn't to particularly go up against like survivor groups or to eat everyone. It's like that's a bonus because you get XP from it and you can help grow up the zombies at a low level and all that sort of stuff. But I mean like for us at Roftwood it was it was easy because you guys were lighting everything. We knew that there were places we could hit. We knew there were lots of survivors around the area. And then when we were like, well, they've all kind of gone when Hildebrand was ruined for a few days in a row, we went, okay, we'll go to a different mall, and then come back because we know that you're all going to come back again because you're like, oh, thank God, everyone's gone.
You just literally farmed Roftwood.
Well, I mean, like you gave us a fight back, and we don't get that a lot throughout the city.
Yeah, it was crazy. I learned a lot of things the hard way. The best way I learn is unfortunately the hard way. But yeah, the whole lighting up resource buildings, that was so noobish of me. I just like, I used to sleep in lit buildings all the time. For some reason, they just made me feel comfortable. I don't know. I didn't really understand a whole lot of the nitty gritty mechanics, honestly. If I'm being like humble, like I thought lit buildings gave me increased chance to fire always. I didn't understand that was like only a thing for certain dark buildings or whatever, like movie theaters and banks. I just thought like, oh, any lit building gives me an increased chance to like fire. I was total noob. But yeah, anyway, I used to sleep in lit buildings all the time. I just didn't get it either. You know, it's like, oh, how come every time I fall asleep in this lit building, I'm just waking up dead? I just like, it took me so long to like put one and two together. Being like, oh, you know, that just kind of literally shows zombies where to go. Makes me think of that movie Land of the Dead. What was it? Fiddler's Green? Is that what that city was called? Have you ever seen Land of the Dead?
No.
Ah, dude. I just happen to watch a lot of zombie movies. It's like my one little niche.
But I mean, Fiddler's Green is a thing on the wiki anyway.
Yeah, it's just like this, like, you know, a whole city's dark, and then this one little section of the city lights up, and obviously just draws all the zombies to it. So it's like the first Scourging was back in February, and that taught me a lot about how to play the game and how to not sleep in powered resource buildings when under attack by a super coordinated zombie group. Um, and then what? You guys left us alone for a bit. We like got Roftwood all nice and green, and we start doing our little foreign campaigns next door into Nicole's Mall. And then on the beginning of the third Nicole's Mall tour, like literally, like I believe it had to have been the first like 24 to 48 hours. We like have full inventories, 100%. Everyone has roles. Everyone knows what their responsibilities are. We've already done this Nicole's Mall thing 2 times. Now we're doing it a third time, and we got the Knights Templar behind us and stuff. So we're just like ready to make a big presence in Nicole's Mall. And as soon, like within the first 24 to 48 hours, you guys just show up. Totally, we had no, you weren't even a blip on our radar. And we heard that Hildebrand was down, and then we're like, what? And then we had to go find out that like, oh no, the Scourge are back like 6 months later. Talk to me about that a little bit. What was your memory? I have a vivid, colorful, like shell shock memory of that.
Oh, I'd imagine with that we probably went. Well, last time we were there were survivors, so let's go back again. Because I mean, like as I said before, it's like there's not a lot of places on the map that have a decent level of survivor numbers that actually coordinate and actually fight back and things like that. And we knew Hildebrand was a place to go because it was like that when we went at the start of the year. So I guess we just decided to go back again, and then we were surprised that we were like, oh, and none of the like Roftwood Elite and all you guys, like you weren't where we expected you to be. So that's kind of why it made it super easy for us to hit the mall a little bit easier. So
I wanted to make a point that I evolved as a player and a tactician. Where the first Scourging, you caught me sleeping in many like powered tactical resource buildings. This time, I don't know. There might have been a couple exceptions. I have to look back, but I think for the most part, we just played river tactics, and it was wicked boring. And I promise we won't do that again. But it was just like you beat us so bad the first Scourging. I just wanted to just river tactic you guys until we could go back to business as usual.
Yeah. And I mean, like,
it was lame. I admit. I'm not happy about the second Scourging. It was just understand that the whole intent was, or the source of it was terror, because you guys just scourged us so hard in February. We wanted nothing to do with that again in July, so we just river tacted it and just, you know. I love what Roddy Winters says. He didn't call it river tactics. He called it, you know, when they zigged, we zagged. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. So basically ran away because you were so scared.
Oh my gosh. It's just like I told Roddy Winters, any other tactic is just like suicide. You're just clogging the revive queues. It's like, we can't do anything against that. One real-time strike, you crack us like an egg. And then you're just in there. And I don't know. It's just an all-you-can-eat buffet. It's savage.
And I mean, like, by then, we'd sort of known who were the bigger targets to aim for, and so we'd crack open a building, and we'd be like, oh my god, that person's there, let's get them first, and we'd always, like, prioritize, like, you, for instance, or like,
Walton's
certain other
tastiest
people,
survivor.
just because they were sort of bigger, better-known names, I guess, in the area, that we'd sort of seen more often, and all that sort of stuff, so, and then, I mean, some of it was kind of like, we were surprised when we'd, like, come across you in a building, because we're just like, we'll just try this building for the sake of it. And
Yeah.
then so we'd be like, oh my god, he's in there. We would eat him as fast as possible because we knew that you would go active fairly soon around our strike time. And so we had to make sure we got you before you woke up.
Oh man, it was crazy. It was, I don't know. There was a few times I remember just waking up in the middle of getting eaten alive. I have a couple of those screenshots. It's just, I don't know. It's like Twilight Zone moments or something, you know? It's like I feel like that weird, deeper connection with my little Urban Dead guy.
Yeah.
I'm looking at your trophy case. I'm trying to see what was going on in between the first and second scourging. It looks like you guys went to Fort Perrin with
Yeah,
FU, MOB, or the mob.
Yeah,
Feral
so we
Undead.
tried that, so but basically the survivors, so I think it was Envy that were there. They apparently were putting up some kind of fight for ages. We got word that Perrin was up again, which generally Perrin's pretty much down the whole time.
Fort Feral is Fort Perrin's nickname,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah,
And
like
for
it's
listeners who
very
don't
rarely.
understand, feral zombies mean that they're just zombies who, like, they're not really coordinated in any meta sense, but they're like, they just follow each other around in game. So it's just a bunch of individual zombie players who don't, like, align to any group or do any form or Discord coordination. But they just, like, you know, you see another pack of zombies and you just kind of follow them around. And that's what feral undead is, right?
I think so.
Or
Like
is
that.
feral undead any deeper than that?
No, they're a proper group, but I think they just sort of not. Well, I don't know. I've never really encountered anyone in Feral Undead, or sort of really conversed with them.
Yeah,
At
my
all,
experience
so.
is you just kind of do your thing in game and follow each other. There's no real talking or coordinating. You just look
Yeah.
and follow.
Well, I mean, like they have a forum, so like they're
Oh.
somewhat coordinated, but they're not just feral zombie. Like so, like dual nature is just a group tag people put on when they play like both zombie and survivor, whichever one they happen to be at the time. Whereas feral undead are an actual group. Like they're just not like feral zombies that have just like that's the name that they've adopted. Like they're an actual group, but like for
Interesting.
me, because I've never actually encountered them or really talked to any of them or anything like that, I don't know how their group works or that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, for my memory of that Fort Perrin thing was that we got word that Envy and a few others, like there's survivors that are down there, and then obviously when there's a bigger survivor number, there the locals kind of go back into their fort as well. We got word that they were there. And so we were headed that way, and we had a couple that ran ahead a little bit faster than what the rest of us did. And then it seemed that as soon as we were spotted there, Envy just ran like they went. And so we were able to ruin some of the fort or help ruin the fort or whatever, but it was kind of like it was done before we even got there.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty savage.
Yeah, which was kind of like it's dumb. It's like at least you guys in Roftwood, you don't run away to like a completely different suburb. You go, oh my god, there's zombies. Let me just run away and let once the zombies get bored because there's no survivors, they'll move on and we can come back again. It's like you stay and fight. Like you clear us out of the buildings and all that sort of stuff. So.
Yeah, Roftwood, it's a fanatic population for sure. Anyone who hangs out that close to Ridley Bank, it's a very tribal group of people.
No, exactly, and it's like but the thing is, like, you know what you're gonna expect. You know there's gonna be zombies there because of the proximity to Ridley Bank and that sort of area. And so, but yeah, so it was a bit disappointing that we didn't actually get any kind of fight in Fort Perrin, because we've played around at Creedy before when that's been up and trying to like we break into the barricades. There's like 50 people in there has been in the past. I don't know if it was this year or last year or when it was, but we've had times where the gatehouse at Fort Creedy would have like 50 people in there or something, like a big number.
Wow.
And so we'd break in and then we couldn't really do much besides like eat a few people before getting killed and dumped outside. But that also made it kind of pretty fun as well.
It's
but
a
yeah,
challenge,
with Fort
you
Perrin
know?
it was like,
You have to work
exactly,
for it.
and like, Yeah. And I mean, like, but with Fort Perrin, it was like we got there, or a couple of us got there, and then it was ruined, and that was it. And so most of us didn't even go there at
Yeah,
all because there was no point. Like, if it's ruined, like, what are we gonna do?
just camp a ruined building.
And there are people that just want to do that. That's how they play the game. They, with their zombies, they break in and just sit in ruined buildings to make sure it makes it harder for survivors to come back and take it.
That's who we deal
Oh.
with in the Nicole's Mall thing. It's this group of, like, I don't think they're feral undead because they don't have the group tag that, but they're just like random uncoordinated zombies that just seem to enjoy haunting Nicole's Mall. And it's, I don't know. When I say frustrating, I don't mean I'm actually angry. It's like just a fun challenge because it's just like it's so close to our borders, and it's just like it's such like a close proximity to us. It's even closer than Ridley Bank, and it's kind of funny. It's like we consider Nicole's Mall like the battleground between Roftwood and Ridley Bank. If you like look at the bigger map or whatever, it's like I don't know. It's equal. Like I think what Blackmore Building's probably the capital of Ridley Bank. That's probably their most sensitive building. It seems like
Well, I
they
mean,
get the most
that's
triggered if anyone messes with that.
it's probably because it's the only Necrotech building in Ridley Bank, and I mean, it's that historic building for the RRF as well. It's like that's the one that they've always maintained is
Yeah.
always ruined.
And the
And
Blackmore
so
building
it's
is like very close to Nicole's Mall.
yeah, it's like not far away. And I think that's the thing with the population of this game at the moment. It's like
1, 2, 3,
there's
4,
not
5, 6 tiles. The Blackmore building.
Yeah.
It's like RF probably has a better claim to Nicole's Mall than Roftwood does. If we base like Hildebrand as the capital of Roftwood or something, Nicole's is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they beat us by 1 in the claim. If this was like the United Nations or whatever.
Yeah. And I mean, like, if the population of the city was a little bit bigger, then you might have more survivors where you could split it a bit easier to go, cool, let's send some to Nichols Mall, some to Hildebrand, and sort of help maintain both parts of the suburbs. Whereas it's so hard when you've only got a limited population that you can't really split the resources that much.
Hello again, Roftwood. This concludes part 1 of my discussion with my friend and arch nemesis, Rotting Rita, leader of the Scourge pro-zombie group. This RCC Fireside Chat is a post-apocalyptic production proudly presented to you by the Roftwood Coordination Center. I'm Zombie GG, reminding you to stay tuned, and as always, Roftwood, the pleasure's been mine.